My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes we ask, where is Allah? But the truth is, we've become too available to everyone else. We've opened our hearts to the world, and now we wonder why there's no space left for peace. Allah hasn't gone anywhere. He's just waiting for you to return gently, sincerely, and completely. You're not tired of life. You're tired of being too accessible. My beloved brother, my dearest sister, you're carrying a tiredness that sleep doesn't fix, aren't you? It's not the kind of tiredness that goes away after a nap. It's not the kind that disappears after a weekend off or a quiet evening. This is a tiredness that sits deep in your chest. A quiet heaviness that follows you everywhere. In the middle of a crowd, and even when you're alone, you keep thinking, maybe I just need rest. But you've had rest, you've had quiet moments, and still you feel drained. You see, this isn't a physical tiredness. This is the exhaustion of a soul that has been available to too many people for far too long, without enough space left for Allah. You're not tired of life. You're tired of how you're living it. You're always available, always on, always giving, always reaching, always checking in, always replying, always showing up. And no one really sees how deeply that's been costing you. They see your smile. They see the effort. They see the calm voice and the helpful heart. But they don't see what happens when you're done. When you go to your room, when the screen turns off, when the door closes, when it's just you and a heart that's completely empty because you've given everyone something but gave yourself nothing. And you gave Allah the least, not because you didn't want to, not because you forgot He exists, but because you've been moving so fast, answering so many people, carrying so many weights, that you slowly, quietly stopped showing up for the only one who could actually refill you. You love helping people. That's beautiful. But you were never created to be everyone's solution. You were created to connect to the one who solves everything. You were not made to answer every message. You were not made to fix every situation. You were not made to be emotionally available to people who rarely ask how you are. And most importantly, you were not created to make everyone else feel whole while your own soul feels like it's falling apart. Allah didn't ask this from you. He didn't ask you to burn out for others. He didn't ask you to please everyone. He didn't ask you to carry what only He can carry. But somewhere along the way, you forgot that you're allowed to rest. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to pause. You forgot that you were created for sujood, not for constant availability. You answer the world, but when was the last time you answered your Lord? You reply to hundreds of notifications, but when was the last time you replied to your fitrah? The inner whisper that says, please, just sit with Allah again. You give comfort to others, but when was the last time you opened the Quran and let its verses comfort you? You're crying over people who left you unseen, but Allah has been waiting for you in silence, not once, turning away. No matter how long you've been gone, He's still there. But your soul doesn't feel Him because it's too tired, too crowded, too drained, and He never forces, He waits. My dear soul, you cannot keep making everyone else a priority and expect your heart to feel peaceful. You cannot keep showing up for people while ignoring the empty space inside you that is desperately calling for your return to Allah. This isn't about abandoning people. This is about rebuilding yourself so you can even be there for them. You don't need to disappear from the world, but you do need to disappear into Allah. You need to shut the door sometimes, turn off the phone, breathe, cry, pray, say nothing but, Ya Allah, I'm here again. Even if you don't know what to say, I just sit in sujood and let the tears speak, because this is the only place that will never drain you. Everyone else takes a little piece of you. Allah is the only one who gives you back more than you came with. You don't need to explain anything to Him. He already knows what you've been through. He knows the moments you cried quietly after being strong for too long. He knows the way you smile to keep peace while your soul is shaking inside. He knows the guilt you carry. He knows the confusion. He knows the pressure you feel to be everything to everyone. But He didn't ask for that. All He asked was, come back to me. Not when you're perfect. Not when you're finished helping everyone. Just now. Come back. And if you do, you won't just feel better. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel safe. You'll feel held. Because the peace you've been chasing was never in people's approval. It was never in your to-do list. It was never in your constant giving. It's been in that empty space all along. The one you've been too busy to enter. That sacred space where Allah waits quietly for your return. So tonight, pause, breathe, come back. He didn't move away. You just stopped returning. And the second you walk back toward Him, He comes running toward you. That's His promise. And His promises never fail. You can't keep giving everyone your heart and still expect to feel whole. My beloved brother, my precious sister, your heart is tired, not because it's broken, but because it's been handed out to too many people without ever being returned to the one who created it. You've given your love, your concern, your emotional availability to every person who asked for it, and even to those who didn't deserve it. You keep giving because you believe that's what good people do. You keep pouring because you don't want to be seen as selfish. You keep opening your heart because deep down you want to be seen, to be loved, to be appreciated, to be needed. But somewhere in the middle of all this giving, you forgot that your heart has limits, that your ruh is not infinite, that even soft hearts break silently when they're held too tightly by too many hands. You're trying to be everything for everyone, but it's costing you the one relationship that actually makes you feel whole. Allah, the only one who doesn't take and leave, the only one who receives your heart and protects it, not with conditions, but with mercy. You can't keep giving your heart to every message, every voice, every memory, every request, every I need you, and still expect to have enough left for your own salah, for your own dua, for your own peace. Your chest feels heavy because it's not just filled with emotions. It's filled with people. People you couldn't say no to. People you wanted to please. People who hurt you, but you kept letting them in because you didn't want to seem hard, cold, distant. But my dear, there is nothing cold about protecting your soul. There is nothing distant about drawing near to Allah and stepping back from what's draining you. It's not wrong to love people, but it becomes a problem when your love for people makes you forget your limits and makes you forget Allah. You were not created to be a therapist for everyone. You were not placed on this earth to absorb other people's chaos while your own heart crumbles. Even the Prophet ﷺ would step away. He would sit in silence. He would seek stillness. He would reconnect with his Lord in the quiet. Even he, the most emotionally available, gentle, patient man to ever walk this earth, had to guard his heart. Because if you don't guard your heart, this world will pull it apart. One piece at a time. One toxic conversation. One friend who only calls when they need something. One person who confuses kindness for weakness. One relationship that gives you more anxiety than peace. And before you know it, you're crying at night. Not because your life is broken, but because you're not sure who you are anymore. You've given your heart to everyone else. And now there's nothing left for Allah. And that's the real heartbreak, isn't it? Not that they didn't love you, not that they left, but that in trying to hold on to people, you accidentally let go of yourself. And somewhere along the way, you let go of the one who could have healed all of it. But tonight, this is your wake-up call. This is your divine reminder not to become hard, not to become bitter, but to finally become honest. You can't keep giving everyone your heart and still expect to feel whole. You can't keep letting your boundaries break just to keep people close. You can't keep showing up for others if it's making you disappear from Allah. You need time to rebuild. You need silence. You need a moment in sajda where you just breathe and say, Ya Allah, I'm tired of pretending I'm okay. I've made too much space for others and I've left you waiting for me in the corner of my own heart. And even as you say those words, even if your voice trembles, even if your eyes fill with tears, Allah doesn't get angry. He doesn't turn away. He doesn't say, where have you been? He just opens the door again because He knows. He knows why you kept giving. He knows why you kept holding on. He knows why you thought you had to be strong for everyone. And He also knows that your strength has limits. He created you with those limits so that one day, when you reach them, you would come back, not to people, not to the world, but to Him. So if tonight you feel broken, don't try to hide it. If your heart feels too stretched, don't push it further. Just close your eyes, breathe, and say, Ya Allah, I give my heart back to you. You've given it to people, to situations, to attachments, to plans, to dreams, to habits. Now it's time to give it back to the one who created it, the one who knows every crack, every scar, every bruise, and still calls it beautiful. Still says, I will heal it. My dear soul, you were never meant to feel this empty. You were never meant to feel this scattered, this far from yourself, this far from Him. You're not a bad person for being soft, but you are being called now to return, to take your heart out of the hands of those who don't know how to hold it and place it back into the hands of the one who shaped it from clay and breathed life into it. And when you do, you'll realize the peace you've been searching for was never in being loved by everyone. It was in loving Allah enough to say, this heart is yours again. Even the Prophet ﷺ chose silence before he was chosen. My brothers and sisters, do you remember where revelation began? It did not descend in front of a crowd, not in the middle of a gathering, but in the cave where the Prophet ﷺ chose stillness, where he withdrew, not out of rejection, but because solitude was the beginning of purpose. Before Allah entrusted him with the world, He gifted him silence. Before Allah gave him the Quran, He gave him seclusion. Don't underestimate your moments of withdrawal. They might just be the start of your greatest transformation. The world trains you to perform, but Allah trains you to return. My beloved brother, my dear sister, you live in a world that teaches you how to perform, how to look perfect, how to act strong, how to be impressive. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning, you're already in a race to be enough, a race to be accepted, a race to meet standards you never agreed to in the first place. Reply fast. Look happy. Don't fall behind. Stay relevant. Be productive. Don't stop. And the moment you pause, the moment you take a breath, you feel guilty because somewhere deep inside, you've been trained to believe that your worth is in what you do, not in who you are. The world rewards performance. It claps when you're doing everything. It praises you when you carry more than you should. It celebrates your strength, even if that strength is quietly destroying you. But Allah is not the world, and He never asked you to perform. He is not impressed by your speed. He's not counting your messages. He's not evaluating your productivity. He's not concerned with how many people you please. He's not waiting for your perfection. He's waiting for your return. You see, the world trains you to be efficient, but Allah trains you to be sincere. The world wants your output. Allah wants your heart. The world sees your actions. Allah sees your intention. And that's why sometimes Allah slows you down. He places a pause in your life. He makes certain things stop working. He closes doors that once felt wide open. He puts weight in your chest you can't explain because He knows you've been moving too fast. You've been giving too much. You've been performing for too long, but you haven't returned in a while. You haven't sat with Him in silence. You haven't spoken to Him without a script. You haven't cried to Him without feeling ashamed. You haven't asked Him, Ya Allah, do you miss me? Because I've missed you. And yet, even through all the noise, even while your attention is divided, even while you're trying so hard to keep up, He never turned away. He watched you wake up early for others, but sleep through Fajr. He saw you reply instantly to every message, but delay your salah. He watched you post quotes about faith, but forget to have a real conversation with Him. And still, He never exposed you. He never punished you. He just waited because your Lord is not harsh. He is gentle, and when He loves you, He doesn't humiliate you to wake you up. He breaks you softly. He slows you down silently. He removes what distracts you painfully until all that's left is the part of you that wants to come home. You've been running so hard, trying to keep up with everyone, trying to be the good one, the reliable one, the one who never lets anyone down. But my dear, you've been letting yourself down because while the world claps for your performance, your soul is crying for presence. Presence with Allah, presence in sujood, presence in quiet, unfiltered dua, presence in the stillness that reminds you that you don't have to earn His love. You just have to return to it. You don't need to deserve closeness to Allah. You just need to admit that you're far and that you want to come back. He's not asking for eloquence. He's not waiting for a perfect version of you. He just wants you to say, Ya Allah, I got lost in the world, but I still remember my way back to you. You know why you keep feeling empty after every success? Because you've mistaken attention for love. You've mistaken progress for peace. You've mistaken busyness for purpose. But none of that fills the ruh, because the ruh was created to return to its Rabb. And if you keep feeding it with everything but Him, you'll keep winning on the outside while breaking on the inside. So tonight, pause. Stop performing. Close the curtain. Turn off the lights and just sit with your Lord. No filters, no audience, no pretending. Just you and Him. Tell Him everything. Even the things you think He doesn't want to hear. He already knows, but He loves when you bring it to Him anyway. That guilt you're carrying, bring it. That mistake you can't forgive yourself for, bring it. That confusion you keep hiding behind smiles, bring it. He doesn't want your act. He wants your honesty. He wants your brokenness, because it's in that brokenness that real healing begins. Do you remember what Allah told the angels when they questioned why He was creating mankind? He said, I know what you do not know. He knew we would fall. He knew we would forget. He knew we would be weak. And still, He chose you. He still chooses you. Every morning you wake up. Every time your heart softens. Every time a tear rises when you hear His name. That's not a coincidence. That's Him calling you back. Not to perform, not to impress, but simply to return. And when you do, you'll realize something the world never told you. That your peace was never in being perfect. It was in being present with the one who is. Stop asking for peace while entertaining what's draining you. My beloved brother, my dear sister, you keep asking Allah for peace. But the truth is, you're still entertaining what's draining you. You want calm, but you refuse to close the doors that are letting chaos in. You cry for clarity, but you keep returning to what confuses your soul. You beg Allah for strength, but you run back to the very people and habits that keep making you weak. And I ask you gently tonight, how can you feel peace when you keep feeding what breaks you? You say, I just want to feel close to Allah again, but you don't let go of the things that push you further away from Him. You say, why do I feel so distant? But you still give your heart to the same distractions, to the same sins, to the same people who showed you again and again they were never safe for your soul. You keep trying to heal, but you're still holding hands with what hurts you. You can't plant peace in soil poisoned with your own denial. You can't invite Allah's light in while clinging to the very darkness you're too scared to let go of. And I know why you're scared. I know why you keep going back. Because even pain can become familiar. Even anxiety can become comfortable. When it's all you've known, you say, but this is all I have. What if letting go leaves me empty? What if I'm alone? But my dear, don't you realize you're already empty now? You're already alone. Even in the middle of that friendship, even in the middle of that relationship, even while you scroll through endless notifications, you're surrounded but not supported. You're responding but not receiving. You're giving your heart, but nothing comes back but confusion and silence. And still, you hold on. Why? Because the heart is tender. Because walking away feels like weakness. Because deep down you're hoping they'll change. That the habit will fade. That the distraction will finally satisfy you. But it never does. Because it was never sent by Allah. And what isn't from Allah can never give you peace. That feeling you get in your chest after you reply to that message you shouldn't have, after you visit that account that leaves your soul unsettled, after you listen to something that blocks out your fitrah, that quiet tightness, that lingering heaviness, it's not random. It's your Ra crying, begging you to stop feeding it poison and expecting it to feel nourished. How long will you ignore that pain? How long will you keep asking Allah to heal you while you run back to what broke you? You say, I'm trying to fix myself. But fixing doesn't happen with both hands tied to what needs to be let go of. You can't clean your soul if you won't release what made it dirty. You can't feel light when you won't drop what's weighing you down. You ask for lightness in sujood, but you walk out of prayer and carry the same people, the same sin, the same secret addiction, the same emotional burden, and then you wonder why nothing changes. But tonight, this is your moment. This is your call. This is Allah quietly confronting your heart with love. You're asking me for peace, but you're still inviting the storm back in. Let that sink in. Sometimes your test is not about waiting for something to happen. It's about having the courage to stop allowing what should have ended long ago. Sometimes the storm doesn't pass because you've built a shelter inside of it. You've made comfort out of pain. You've made routine out of spiritual damage. You've normalized heartbreak when Allah is calling you to wholeness. But wholeness requires sacrifice. You want to feel Allah deeply again? Then you need to release what's taking His place. Because you can't be full of dunya and expect your heart to overflow with akhirah. You can't be addicted to noise and still expect to hear divine whispers. You can't be half in sin and half in sujood and expect your soul to feel secure. So tonight, just pause. Look at what you're still holding on to. Be honest with yourself, brutally honest. What's the thing, the habit, the person, the account, the entertainment, the comfort, the sin that you know has been quietly pulling you away from Allah? You don't have to tell anyone. Just tell Him. And when you do, you will feel something strange. A little fear, a little grief. But underneath it, a new peace starting to rise. Because the soul always recognizes when it's finally being protected. And sometimes peace doesn't feel like calm at first. Sometimes it feels like heartbreak because you're letting go of what was never yours, what was never meant to stay, what was blocking the light all along. But I promise you, nothing you let go of for the sake of Allah will ever be a true loss. Not a friendship, not a habit, not a lifestyle, not a single thing. Because whatever you leave for Him, He replaces it with something better, something purer, something that actually gives you peace, not just the illusion of it. So stop asking for peace if you're not willing to make space for it. Stop asking for light if you keep closing the windows. Stop asking Allah to fix your heart while you keep breaking it in private. He's ready to help you. He always has been. But you have to put the distraction down before you raise your hands in dua. You have to shut the door before you ask Him to enter. And once you do that, once you finally walk away from what drains you, you won't just find peace. You'll feel Him returning to the center of your life again. And that is a feeling this world cannot offer. If you want Allah to step in, you must first step back. My beloved brother, my dear sister, you've been asking Allah to step in, to help you, to guide you, to fix what you can't, to heal what keeps breaking. But there's something you might not realize. Sometimes the only reason He hasn't stepped in is because you haven't stepped back. You are holding too tightly to things you were never meant to carry. You're trying to control what only He can control. You're managing everything except your own peace. You say, Ya Allah, I trust You, but your hands are still clinging to the pen, trying to write your own story. And I ask you gently tonight, how can He take over? When you're still running the show, you're tired, weary, exhausted from doing everything for everyone. But still, you feel guilty letting go because the world has trained you to always be in control, to always have a plan, to always have an answer. But Allah, He never asked for your perfection. He only asked for your surrender. You want Him to send peace, but your life is too full of noise. You want Him to send clarity, but your schedule is too packed for reflection. You want Him to guide you, but you've already made up your mind on how the outcome should look. You say you're leaving it to Him, but your actions say otherwise. You keep checking, you keep worrying, you keep controlling, you keep going back. And the truth is, you haven't really stepped back. You've paused. You've slowed down. But you haven't released it. There's a big difference between letting go and pretending to let go. You want to feel His presence in your life? You want the kind of help that makes no sense to the world? Then you need to do something bold. You need to stop trying to manage everything alone. Because your Lord does not co-manage chaos. He replaces it. But only when you let go of what you've been clutching too long. Sometimes the only barrier between you and the peace you keep begging for is your inability to surrender. You say, I'm waiting for Allah. But maybe Allah is waiting for you to finally trust Him. Enough to stop micromanaging the outcome, to stop chasing people who are no longer part of your story, to stop forcing what He's trying to remove, to stop begging for what He's gently closing. Let me tell you something, my dear. There is a kind of strength that doesn't look like doing more. It looks like stepping back, not because you've given up, but because you finally realized you were never in control to begin with. And when you do that, you create space for Allah to enter, because He doesn't rush in. He doesn't break down your walls. He waits until you open the door willingly, lovingly, from the inside. You've been carrying too much, and the reason it feels heavy is because you weren't meant to carry all of it. You were meant to walk, to try, to strive, but you were also meant to stop, to sit, to let go, to lift your hands and say, Ya Allah, I can't anymore, but I know you can. And that's not weakness. That's the beginning of tawakkul. The Prophet ﷺ, the most beloved to Allah, was never told to do it all alone. In the darkest moments of his mission, Allah didn't say, work harder. He said, be patient. Turn back to your Lord. Trust me. When the Quraysh rejected him, when Ta'if threw stones, when the Muslims were outnumbered, when the path ahead seemed impossible, Allah stepped in. But only when the Prophet ﷺ stepped back and handed the situation to him. That is what you must do. Because peace doesn't come from having it all under control. Peace comes from giving it to the one who already does. You don't need to fix everything tonight. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to take a step back, sit in sujood and say, Ya Allah, I've been holding this for so long, but tonight I return it to you. Return your worry. Return the pain. Return the questions. Return the heartbreak. Return the deadlines. Return the outcome. Let Allah do what He does best. Turn impossibility into ease. Turn darkness into clarity. Turn silence into guidance. Turn your tears into mercy. But first, step back. Give Him space to step in. Stop trying to fix people who don't want to change. Stop forcing the plan that no longer serves your heart. Stop checking your phone hoping it will give you peace. Stop arguing with destiny. You are not failing by letting go. You are finally freeing your soul. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment Allah has been waiting for. The moment you stop fighting Him. The moment you stop carrying what was never yours. The moment you finally say, Ya Allah, take it. Take all of it. And replace it with what you know I need. Because when Allah steps in, He doesn't just adjust the situation. He rewrites the path. He calms your chest. He removes what blocks you. And He gives you what no one else can. Tranquility, not in the future. Not in what you're chasing. But in the moment you stop chasing and simply return. So tonight, my dear soul, just breathe. Step back. Put it down. And watch what happens. When Allah finally steps in, you're not being cold, you're being cold. My beloved brother, my precious sister, lately you've been quieter. You're not replying as fast as you used to. You're not showing up for everyone the way you once did. You're not laughing the same. You're not reaching out. You're not performing anymore. And you're wondering, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel distant from everyone? Why do I feel like pulling away when I used to be the one holding everything together? Let me tell you something. What you're feeling right now is not coldness. It's not failure. It's not selfishness. It's something much deeper, much holier, much more beautiful. You're not being cold. You're being called. You're being called away from noise, away from people who drain you, away from circles that no longer feed your soul, away from conversations that once felt exciting but now leave your heart heavy. You're being called to silence, to stillness, to simplicity, to surrender. It's not a breakdown, it's a return. You see, there comes a time in every believer's life when Allah starts calling the heart back to Him, not with a loud voice, not with a sign in the sky, but through a quiet shift inside your chest that says, I don't want this anymore. I don't want the constant replies. I don't want to be seen by everyone. I don't want to perform for a crowd. I don't want to prove my worth to those who never saw me. I just want peace. I just want closeness to my Lord. I just want quiet. I just want truth. And that shift, that quiet ache in your soul that no one else sees, that's not depression. That's Allah saying, my servant, I miss you and I want you back. You've been there for everyone, but now it's time to be with the one who was there. Before anyone even knew your name, you've smiled when it hurt, laughed when you were breaking, loved when you were empty. But Allah never asked you to be available for the world. He only asked you to be sincere with Him. And now He's making it easier by pulling you away from what no longer fits. That friendship you're drifting from, that space you don't feel safe in anymore, that habit that used to distract you but now feels empty, that group chat you no longer want to be part of. It's not you going numb. It's your heart waking up. And yes, it feels strange because we've been taught to always show up, to always be responsive, to always keep everyone happy. But what if this time Allah is saying, let them go, come back to me instead? Not in a dramatic way, not in a harsh way, just quietly, softly, in the way only He can call you. Like when you're driving and you hear Quran in the background and your eyes suddenly fill with tears and you don't know why. Like when you wake up in the middle of the night and feel something heavy in your chest, but no one to talk to. And you just say, Ya Allah. And for a second, it feels like someone heard you. Like when you're scrolling through everything that used to excite you, but now it all feels meaningless. That's not emptiness. That's clarity. That's Allah cleaning your path. And I know it can feel lonely because when you start choosing your Lord, you naturally lose what's not aligned with Him. Some people stop calling. Some invitations stop coming. Some conversations dry out. And if you're not careful, you might start believing you've become cold. But you haven't. You're just finally hearing your soul. And your soul wants Allah again. It's tired of impressing people. Tired of seeking validation. Tired of being everywhere except where it actually matters. You're not rejecting people. You're finally respecting your heart. You're not isolating. You're finally listening. You're not losing your spark. You're protecting your light before the wrong hands put it out. Because the truth is, you were created to love Allah first. And when that love gets buried under distractions, He starts peeling them away. Not to hurt you, but to wake you up. So if you feel like you're being pulled away, don't fight it. Don't explain it. Don't apologize for it. Just whisper back, Ya Allah, I hear you and I'm coming home. And trust me, you will lose things on this journey. You will outgrow people. You will fall silent in spaces that once made you loud. You will say no when you used to always say yes. You will choose your salah over the late night phone call. You will choose Quran over conversations that once filled your day. But what you gain will be worth every quiet goodbye, because you will gain yourself again. And more importantly, you will gain Allah. And when Allah becomes enough for you, you'll stop begging others to stay. You'll stop explaining why you're different now. You'll stop trying to fit back into spaces that never understood your soul to begin with. And one day, you'll look back at this strange, quiet, hidden season and smile, because you'll realize this wasn't the season you became distant. It was the season you finally became close. The moment you stop overgiving, you'll feel Allah returning. My beloved brother, my precious sister, you keep giving, even when you're tired, even when your heart is aching, even when no one notices how much it costs you. You give and give and give again. You reply when your soul wants silence. You comfort others when you yourself need comfort. You carry their pain while yours stays locked away, unseen, unspoken, unhealed. You're the strong one, the listener, the helper, the always available. And somewhere along the way, you forgot that your soul wasn't built to serve everyone else at the expense of losing Allah. You didn't mean to. You didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to distance myself from my Lord. But slowly, it happened. Your days filled up with tasks. Your phone became your closest companion. Your heart became a shelf where everyone else's burdens sat except your own. And you started mistaking overgiving for goodness. But my dear, there is a difference between kindness and self-destruction. There is a difference between helping others and abandoning yourself in the process. There is a difference between serving people and forgetting the one who created you to serve him first. And I know why you keep doing it. Because you care. Because you're afraid they'll leave. Because you don't want to disappoint anyone. Because you feel guilty choosing yourself. But here's the truth. You were never created to be constantly available to people. You were created to be consistently connected to your Lord. And the moment you forget that, you start wondering why you don't feel him anymore. You keep asking, why don't I feel peace? Why does my heart feel numb? Why do I feel distant from Allah even though I'm doing so much? But you never pause long enough to ask, what have I been giving to everyone else that was meant for him? Your energy, your time, your attention, your thoughts, your emotions, your stillness, your soul. Piece by piece, you've given it all away to people who don't even know how sacred you are. You've given them parts of yourself that were never meant to be shared so casually. And every time you give beyond your capacity, you trade peace for praise, tranquility for temporary validation, divine closeness for digital approval. But Allah, He's never left. He's just waiting for you to finally realize that overgiving is not love. That constantly saying yes is not always good. That never having time for your own soul is not noble. It's damaging. He's waiting for you to stop, not forever, just long enough to remember that your heart was designed to serve Him first and only then pour into others from a place of spiritual overflow. But you're not overflowing, you're empty. Quietly, silently, deeply empty. And it's showing in your rushed salah, in your distracted dua, in your delayed Quran, in your short temper, in your lingering sadness. You're not a bad Muslim. You're just spiritually dry because your soul has been giving out water to everyone else's garden while your own roots have been thirsting for rain. You don't need to abandon people. You don't need to become hard. You don't need to disappear completely. You just need to recenter. You just need to pause. You just need to sit down and say, Ya Allah, I've been too available to the world. Now I want to be available to you. And the moment you do, the moment you gently take your energy back from the places it's been leaking for too long, you'll feel something strange happen. Your chest will loosen. Your eyes will soften. Your thoughts will slow down. Your heart will beat a little lighter. Your prayers will feel a little deeper. Why? Because that was never burnout. That was spiritual neglect. And the cure was never in another break, or another nap, or another distraction. The cure was in returning quietly, sincerely, consistently, returning to your Lord, the one who never took from you, the one who never drained you, the one who was always available even when you were too busy for him. He never resented you for your delay. He never turned away when you forgot. He just waited and waited and waited. And the moment you stop over giving to the world, you'll find yourself standing again in front of the only one who actually knows how to give back. He will fill you, calm you, repair what others broke, remove what's draining you, and give you the kind of strength that doesn't collapse after giving. Because when your energy is rooted in Allah, you don't burn out. You burn brighter. So tonight, breathe, step back, take your energy off the table. Don't reply right away. Don't show up to prove your worth. Just be still and say, Ya Allah, this heart is yours again. I will stop over giving so that I can finally start overflowing with you. And you'll see, the moment you stop giving everyone access to your energy, you will feel Allah returning to the center of your life. And that will be the beginning of your peace. My beloved brothers and sisters, you were never created to carry everyone, to reply to everything, to perform endlessly while your soul stays silent. Your heart wasn't made for overgiving. It was made for returning to the one who fills it with light again. So tonight, give yourself permission to step back. Say no where you used to say yes. Close the doors that left you empty and open your hands in dua, because Allah has been waiting for you to come home gently, sincerely, and completely. And when you do, you won't just feel better, you will feel Him.